I'm here with my brother Corey. We just had a good discussion regarding pain. A lot of you guys already know that I titled my story with the name "My Pain Is My Story." It was brought about in a situation I was in that caused tremendous pain. And I can remember a time when I went to church, and at the end of the church service, the pastor asked if he can pray for me. And I said, sure. And there were 3, if not 4 women that surrounded me and prayed for me. And after they finished praying, they began to prophesy over my life. But there was this one particular woman that said something to me. She said to me, you have a story to tell. And me knowing my story and how devastating it was, I was shocked that she said it out of her mouth. So I began to tear up a little bit. And she said, one day you're going to tell the world your story. And I said, nobody has my story. I've met so many people. I've been to 3 different therapists, and nobody never heard my story before. And she said to me, you're absolutely right. She said, no one can relate to your story. She said, but what they can relate to is pain. And this is how it was brought about. My pain is my story. So I'm here to discuss with Corey even the very things that he had went through that was painful, but yet developed him and brought him to become who he is today and what he's becoming tomorrow. Corey, share a little something with us about your experiences as we were just speaking about before you got to where you are.
Well, first I want to say thanks for inviting me, man, because we laugh and joke, but very rarely do you see 2 brothers on camera sit down.
That's right. That's right.
Not even in real life, but even on camera sit down and break bread. So first, thank you for allowing me to even share. So with saying that, what we were kind of talking about, I was saying that similar to you, what you were saying, probably over 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago, I never really pinpointed the exact time, but about 12 years ago, I was going through some things in life, and I was, I was working as much as I could, and doing the right things, doing the things that society told me to do, like go to work hard, and do that. But I was still coming up short. And no matter what I did, no matter how hard I worked, no matter how much effort I put into whatever I was doing, I could never get ahead, man. And then I remember one day, we were talking about before we went live, it's like I got down on my knees, man. I had taken my life as far as I could take it, and then I got down on my knees, and I just had a conversation with God. And in my opinion, I felt like I told myself that I'm not coming up off this ground until I felt like God, that we had a conversation, until I was whole. And I felt like I stayed down there until I heard God talk to me, and He revealed some things to me, some things that I needed to change, and to show me a vision of my life. And from that moment when I got up, things was just different, man. The whole world was different. The way I moved throughout the world was different. The energy I had around me was different. My prayer was different. My assignment was different. My mission in life was different. And I think that I've been on that journey for the last 12 years or 15 years or however long it's been.
Wow. I can recall in the conversation that we just had about how things around you look different. Not that it changed externally, but some things changed internally.
Yeah.
And I can remember that because I too had went through the church because I wanted something greater than myself. I wanted to become something than what I was at that.
Were you brought up in the church?
No, I actually wasn't. Well, my grandma.
Everybody's grandma,
right? In and out the church. You sleeping. They wake you up, hit your head until you wake up. And it wasn't until later that I got serious about it. And me getting serious about it, I began to study and do my research.
But there's something because there are so many, you deal with so many people, talk to you. Church and religion and spirituality is ingrained in our culture. Right. But there's so many men that have that connection, but they we kind of stray away from it. Was it always kind of there in the back? What led you to lean more into it? Because some of us don't. We don't lean into it.
Well, it started when I was in a vulnerable place. I was in prison.
Right.
And the person I was dealing with at that particular time used to write me letters. And at the bottom of the letter, there were scriptures. And the funny thing about it, the scripture that was at the bottom of the letter kind of coincide with the letter itself, whatever that they were talking about. So after doing some things in prison, I was locked down. I came out of lockdown, and it was this guy that's from the city, and he was the pastor of the prison ministry at the time. And he kind of showed me the way.
When you received the scriptures, did you know what they, like when you read them, did you know what they were? Or did you have to go to the Bible, look them up, research them a little bit more, then go to another section of the Bible?
Well, let me be frank with you and honest. I mean, I kind of, when I was reading the Bible, I kind of got it. I kind of saw it for what it was, face value. Meaning I didn't go behind the scripture and try to be revelatory. But if it says Jack walked down the street, then that's what it was. Right. Jack walked down the street. Right. So word for word, line upon line, I was able to grasp it. But it still wasn't applicable in my life. Though I was reading it, I still didn't know how to apply it.
Right.
Because it's like you and I discussed, it's the moral of the story that you're actually looking for. No matter what it's saying, at the end of the day, how you can apply the morale that it's trying to, convey to you. So later on, I got it, but it came after pain. It came after loss. I was, and a lot of people don't know this, but I was licensed minister. I was licensed as a minister, and I was on my way to become.
This is after you came out of prison?
This was after I came out of prison. I'm gonna tell you something, man. I was radical, man. I was zealous. I'm talking about, man, I was doing the t-shirt ministry, the hat ministry. In church.
You had a word to tell somebody.
Man, look, everything.
Everybody's gonna get this word, huh? If you could be out on the corner, you can be out on the corner pumping positivity, huh?
Tell me about it, man. And I didn't know that it was like that. From the prison ministry to now enter into society, it was a whole different twist.
Right.
I wasn't ready for what was going on out here,
right.
Because it was a little different. And the difference was, I think, to be honest,
be honest.
Yeah. not to discredit or defame anything here.
Be honest.
But the truth of the matter is, in there, it seemed like it was more solid. It was more real. The foundation was more solid. And out here, it's shaky. So when I came out here with a solid foundation.
But isn't it kind of crazy? Now, I did some weekends in prison. I ain't never did those steps. I did a couple weekends.
Okay.
I always bonded out. I could always go to the magistrate and talk my way out of stuff. But isn't it funny how, like, you would think in prison it would be like, so for us, we would think that in being in prison it would be looser, but the world is looser, right?
That's right.
The world is.
That's right. It's a whole different level of respect. It's a whole different level of culture. Everything is solid, because one thing about prison, you're confined. So it's no, you disrespect here, then you can go on the other side of town.
Right.
Nah, you're still in the same place, and it's what we call man up.
Right.
So even when you come down to any type of religious setting, I mean, it's about being solid. You got to be real with this thing. And I was that. And coming out here, I saw something different. And it kind of loosen you up a little bit. And if you're not careful, it will cause you to be a part of the world. But in fact, you should be trying to bring change to the world. Mm-hmm. So I had it in me from the prison system, learning incarcerated. But I didn't have the application when I came out here. It slowly deteriorated. But it's
so then you got with the pastor that ran the prison thing.
Yeah, I came home. He came home. He went back out there, so he never really continued in the ministry. But I did, because the people around me and the person that I was with at the time, she was also helping me, was introducing me and keeping me abreast to the church.
So it kind of, like people say, it matters who you have in your circle.
Absolutely.
Matters who you,
Even
what you're
if they
digesting.
watch this, even if they're infiltrating, because I got way ahead of the person that was teaching me.
Right.
Because I got serious, and the person that teaching me wasn't.
Right.
They went in another direction.
Yeah.
So I grasped the morale that came from it in order to build character. Because I believe that the Spirit of God is just the character of God. But I didn't learn the character, love, peace, joy, all those things, until I lost it all.
The pain part.
The pain part. Because the pain came after the question, how did humanity know you or know God without books?
Yeah, we kind of touched on that a little bit because we were saying that the Bible was, written by man.
That's right.
Sort of the interpretation of what God has said to someone or through some people.
Right.
And it's been twisted over a couple thousand years, right? It's a couple chapters missing.
Yeah.
So how did you tap back into that? How did you get to? Ooh,
Well.
We need a whole other podcast, right?
Man.
Yeah, because I think and I'm kind of leading into that because that's what kind of happened for me. I feel like I tapped into something that wasn't written. I feel like I tapped into an energy, a life source, an internal, unlimited supply. This sort of like omnipresent kind of thing that was all around me. And so now, I'm serious, man. Since that day, I don't get tired, like physically drained like I used to. I don't hunger anymore. I haven't been sick, knock on wood. I got all my fingers and toes work, and it just feel like I'm connected to something greater than myself, right? So for you, what do you like I said, what do you think it was that sort of like guided you into that? Because you were already going that way, but something had to
That's right. It never left me. I mean, it was already established in me. So when that pain started, and I went astray. That astray wasn't it was purposeful, because that pain and everything that I had to endure was a part of the process.
Right.
But at the time I couldn't see that.
Right.
But it was actually a part of the process, because everything I was reading, I really didn't know. I can tell you all day about John, Luke, and Mark, but can't tell you anything about Eugene. So that was the experience right there, because I'm the extension of this book that I keep reading. So the experience showed me, okay, now it's about you now. Now, how do you handle with this? When somebody's angry at you, how do you react or respond to it? Because the book is telling you about morale, about character. It's not when the things are going right that makes it such a great book, but it's when things are going wrong. And see if you can still hold to your morale. When somebody's doing something against you, and then you say, I'm gonna do it because you doing it.
Right.
Then you haven't learned anything. Because what I learned out here, Corey, is this here. Everything is in black and white. Everybody look alike. Everybody wear the same thing. We all look alike. And the only way that you can stand out here is that you have to present something different. And I think what we lost is character.
Right. And
that's something that I gained through the experience
of
loving my brother, loving my sister, loving my enemies. And that's not a hard thing.
No, not especially that last part. Love your enemies. That's tough.
Yeah, I mean, but you learn through experiences of how to develop that. Because at one particular time, even when we just talked about, the church and the persons that was helping me, it was more that they were telling me what to do. And I wasn't developing in what to do. So after it was all said and done, the pain helped me to see myself, to see that God in me. Because it's really about, if we're made in the image and the likeness of God, it's really about you seeing yourself as love, because God is love. And then I started building from the inside out instead of the outside in. So now everything I view is like you just said earlier, when you got on your face and prayed, when you got up, you start seeing things different.
Yeah.
Because now with me, just like you, once I establish that I'm made in the image and the likeness of God, and that's the very being or the core being of who I am, I begin to operate from that place. And if God is love, then I'm love.
Right.
Because I was created from love. So now I operate from that place of love. So everything that I see is shown to me through the eyes of love.
So I've been no, because you just don't understand, man. It's hard. It is so hard. I know you understand, but for the people watching, it's so hard for us as men just to even have these basic conversations. That just to open up and just talk.
Yeah.
So like I'm trying to drill down to the point of us as men. Why are we? What is this wall that we have to have up? This bravado, this false, like, you know, to be a man, be tough, be, you know. Why we can't talk about God and love and spirituality and family, and why do we gotta do this thing where, like, you know, I gotta be better than you, stronger than you, faster than you, bigger car, bigger house, more money? What does that have to, we're not building anything on that.
Wow. I think
There's a lot to unpack right there.
No, it is. But I think a lot of that has to do with society's pressure. And also, and I can say it for me, it had a lot to do with being broken. When your trust being broken, when someone betrayed you, you kind of seclude yourself. You lock yourself in. You build this wall, and that wall is for your defense, so nobody can get to you. But over time, let me share something with you. Over time, I met people, men, women, that showed me that I didn't need that wall. So now, I broke the wall down. Because if I know through my experience, what I know through my experience is that God used men and women,
right,
to show me that I didn't need a wall, right?
Right.
So now I was able to break the wall down. And watch this, y'all. I no longer build walls anymore. But what I do is I set boundaries. So when people come to me, whether man or woman, there's certain boundaries in how they have to come.
Right.
Because I can see disrespect from a mile away. Why? Because I used to be disrespectful. So I know what it looks like.
Come on, Pastor.
I can see hate from a mile away. Why? Because I used to be hateful. So it's not like it's in a pointing your finger in a judgment type of way, but it's a way where I can identify something that I came from.
Right.
So now I'm open. I'm an open book. It makes me an open book. Why? Because I'm a free man, Corey. That's who you're talking to.
Right.
You're talking to a free man.
Right.
And I'm hoping that even today, after the discussion, many men out there, and including women, can open up. And I know it's not easy, but there are some people that you can confide in,
right,
that you can tell your story to, that you can be a help to someone.
You know what I see though? I do see and I don't want to stray too far off topic, but I do see a lot of women. And they got women empowerment weekends.
Yeah, I know.
They got women workshop. They got girlfriend night. They got ladies night out. Ladies night in. They got, you know, when a woman's going through something, she can call on her
That's
good
right.
girlfriend.
That's
right.
That's right.
And I jokingly say this with men. Why don't we have that same? I don't even know what the right word is. You know, why don't we have that same thing? Why can't I call another brother? Yeah. Now I know I can call you. I got that.
Right.
But why can't I call another brother and be like, hey man, I'm going through this, without him saying, oh man, let's go have a drink. Let's go, because that's our outlet, right?
Yeah.
We don't want to face the issues that we're going through. But women, they all like, girl, we're gonna powwow out, we're gonna eat, we're gonna drink, we're gonna figure this thing out. But with us, we're supposed to internalize that pain, keep it all to ourselves. And that pressure builds up, and then it comes out in some other form of whatever, some other vice or whatever. What is it going to take for us to open up to each other?
Wow. I think like any person, whether it's male or female, it's about getting to that place where you know yourself. And I'm saying that for a reason, because knowing yourself, if you're trust, then again, you can identify someone who's trustworthy, where you can confide that in, and don't have to worry about it going down the street, around the corner, around the block, because everybody isn't in that place. But if you're in that place, you can attract what you reflect. And if you don't reflect that very thing, you're able to identify that, and you'll know how to deal with that. Because all men is not like that, but all men can become that.
Right.
But each one teach one. And it would take one man at a time. Because again, I know what that feels like. Why? Because I met men that later on betrayed me. I met women that later on betrayed me. So then, as you grow or not, everyone looks like betrayal to you.
Yeah.
So you never give them a chance to betray you. But again, that's the wall that's being built again because of that situation. That
But
past
isn't
hurt.
that also part of the journey? Like, you know, sitting here now. So how long ago has it been for you that, you know, that you made this transition in life and jumped off with the parachute and
Oh Lord have mercy. I mean, for the last 5 or 6 years, I've been transitioning. It's an ongoing thing.
because I think people they want instant gratification, instant success, instant money, they want everything microwavable, right? They
Yeah.
want everything now.
Yeah.
But the whole journey, like I know that sitting here now, I'm way different than I was
That's right.
10, 12 years ago.
That's
Not,
right.
and I'm not, I don't, it's not a materialistic thing. It's
Mhm.
not a status thing. Just me. I know that I've grown. So it's a process.
That's right.
Right? Like,
That's
you
right.
know, you, but part of the journey is the peaks and the valleys. You got to
That's
have
right.
the highs and the lows.
That's
And I
right.
think everybody just want the highs. They just want to ride high
It doesn't work like that.
with no pain.
It doesn't work like that. And the good thing is that in my pain, in my journey, I was able to have a support because I couldn't do it by myself. I'm gonna tell you.
Right.
And a lot of us can't deal with emotional. You know, a lot of got emotional instability.
Right.
I mean, you know, but for me, I was able to be blessed to have the resources to be in therapy, to have other brothers that I can talk to without it going all the way around the world.
Or being judged.
Or being judged. And also brothers that can remind me of who I am and what I'm deserving of. Because sometimes you could be in a place and you can be so low that you don't think that you're deserving of some things.
Yeah.
Like I came out of a relationship that was argumentative. So moving forward, it's like, do I want that again? But yet you have some people say, well, that's what relationships about. It's about arguments. I beg to differ.
Right.
Because if you can't communicate, then I don't want to be in a relationship with you. Because I had enough of argument. But that's a part of growing.
Right.
So it took people around me to show me that is what I'm worth. I'm worth the attention. I'm worth the love. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'm worth the support. You know, but it's taking you having to begin to allow God to use people, placing things around you to really build you as a human being. And I'm not talking about building, like you said,
Right.
in clothing,
Right.
in your cars, in your home, but I'm talking about character.
I think a lot of men face that challenge too. I think because they haven't achieved something, right? Because your bank account isn't this, because you don't have the home, because you don't have the job or the title. And we attach those things
As being a man.
Yeah.
As
yeah,
defining
yeah,
who
we
a man
define,
is.
Yeah, we define
Yeah,
that.
and I said this many a times, is this here. You know, when people say, well, you know, a real man supposed to walk on the outside of a woman when
Right.
walking down the street.
Right.
But it's like when you do the research on that, that's considered a gentleman. And in the Western days, what they did was they walk on the outside of their women, which we wasn't a part of at the time, our black selves. And when the wagon was coming through, the mud that splashed would hit the man before it hit the woman's dress.
Mm-hmm.
That's where that came from.
Mm-hmm.
But watch this. You can walk on the outside of a woman all you want and still cuss her out
Mm-hmm.
or still cheat on her
Mm-hmm.
because your character still isn't in compliance.
Right.
But you got the external look
Right.
of what it should be. So the definition of a man for me, I mean for somebody else out there it may be different.
Right.
It's character. A definition of woman to me is character. Because not what you drive that defines who you are. To me, those are masks. What you wear doesn't define who you are. That's a mask. But it's when you can step in that crowd and knowing you have a husband and yet you can still be faithful. Or knowing you have a wife and you can still be faithful. And they looking good out there. Come on now. They looking good, they smelling good. And yet it doesn't move you at all.
Right.
Not at all.
Right.
And that is what it's about. It's about forming the character. I think that's very important when it comes down to defining who a man or a woman is.
Right.
And again, those are the things that I learned through the pain of how to build character. And that is what unites men. It's back in the prison day we say, man respect man. And that's a part of manhood, respecting each other.
Right.
And that comes through love, that comes through character. And watch this, for me, it comes through knowing God. Knowing God.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I definitely appreciate this here because again, You
gotta
know,
build, man. We gotta build.
we got to build
And now's the perfect time. Perfect time, man.
with everything going on,
Everything going on. Perfect time to build. Perfect time to build economically, spiritually, mentally, physically. Perfect time.
Yeah, that's right.
Timing.
Without no big eyes and no little U's, but we all can connect our gifts to come to this one goal, and that is to raise a village
Right.
of good men and women, where we respect each other, we love each other, we're non-judgmental. Because spirituality is just another level of morality. Meaning this here, when you were young, your mom would tell you, or your father, somebody hit you, you hit them back. Well, spirituality is another level of that that's hard to grasp. But it's attainable, but it takes a process. Spirituality says, look, somebody hit you, you turn the other cheek. Well, most people say, well, you turn the other cheek for them to smite you or hit you.
Right.
But watch this. How many people know that when you turn the other cheek, or most people walk in the direction that they face turn to? So you turn here first, then you walk in that direction. Knowing you have the power to hurt a person, and yet you're disciplined enough to turn and walk, then that's power right there. That is spirituality. When that's another level of morale, where now everybody, trying to get to, where you teach people to get to, where you know you have the strength, and yet you prefer the discipline in order to love on your brother and not to hurt your brother, then that's real right there. Or your sister, or not to judge them because they're going through this crap or that crap. It's important, because it's always like, don't do this, don't do that, until it's you. And then you'll find yourself doing the very same thing that you would tell another not to do.
Yeah.
So it's just that important that we watch ourselves not to judge, and that we bear each other's burdens and love on each other. That's what it's all about. That's the reason why we came into this world. To love on each other, to love on each other, where that love can go from one generation to the next generation to the next generation. That's what it's about. And I think the reason why you and I came together, Corey, is because of that love. Because like we just said, man respect man, and man recognize man. Yeah. And that's important. And there's rules as being men. There's rules to this. And one of the rules is respect.
Right.
And I think, again, with all the pressure of society and the direction of the culture, sometimes we have lost that. And I'm sure it's the same for women, because at one time we would say, a woman won't do this, or that's a man thing. Now it's equality, it's equity, it's across the board.
Right.
Anybody can do whatever they want to do. So it's important that, again, through the pain, becomes a rebirthing of a new you or a new me.
Do you think that there's something that do you think there's a false narrative being played out? Meaning, I know some good dudes out there. I know some good fathers, but they don't get a lot of shine. You know what I mean? Like you don't hear about the dude that's working 60 hours a week. You don't hear about the dude that he take care of his family, but he come home and he go to sleep. You don't hear about that dude.
Yeah.
So what's kind of being pushed out there is the bad guy or whatever. Like, is the good guys finish last?
Yeah, the good guy finished last. The good guy finished last, man. It's so unfortunate, but we can change the narrative.
Right.
And it's a process. It's not an overnight thing, like we was talking about building character. It's just not an overnight thing. It's just what society is butts right now. This is what they call anything that's derogatory, anything that's harmful. This is what we want to hear. This is what we want to see. But when we're talking about teaching character, Corey, when we're talking about your pain is your story, building from that pain, and not being sour or resentful or angry. See, now you're going to lose some people. But see, when we're talking about take that pain and turn it around, what now can be your joy. Mm-hmm. It can be your happiness. And you can thank the person for giving it to you. Because the person helped you to build your character.
Thank the person that shared this video with you. So what kind of message would you give? Okay, so there's a brother out there right now watching, right? And he on the edge, man. He been praying, and he don't, because I'm gonna tell you, that's where I was at, right? So I was at a place where I was praying. I felt like God wasn't listening to me, and I felt alone. I was in this abyss, you know, and no disrespect to any women that I dated, but I couldn't connect to them. You know, they didn't understand my pain.
Wow.
It was always, you know, where the money. You know, I mean, that's how I felt.
Yeah.
I felt like the only thing they wanted from me was money. So that guy that's out there that's going through it right now, like he in that space. What can you say to that guy right there that, you know, that may just encourage him to just hang in there one more day?
Hold on. There's still hope. God got you. Because even when you don't see him, he's still there for you. I mean, I didn't even believe that I would be here standing today.
Me neither.
Because I was hopeless. I'm going to tell you, I was hopeless. But God sent people my way. And even as stubborn as I was, didn't even want to hear it. And as judgmental as I was, because I thought every woman was the same. From the woman that hurt me. I'm thinking every one of them was the same. Every man was the same. Because guess what? Men betrayed me.
Yep.
But it took, but as God was using people to go forward, to keep pressing and pressing, eventually I was able to evolve and let them in. The wall came down and boundaries were set. And they showed me who I am. They showed me what I'm deserving of. And I'm grateful for that. So I would encourage you, every man that's going through it right now, that God still got you. Allow people, places, and things to help develop you, to begin to see you of who you are. Because sometimes you can be in that anger so much, and that pain so much, that it will blind you of what God is trying to show you about you. So I just want to say, be encouraged. Brother Corey, thank you, man.
Oh, man,
It was a blessing, man.
We gotta do the social distance bump, man. You know, we slap hands, people gonna be on there talking about that. Y'all didn't social distance. No, man, thank you, brother, because this is, man, we need more of this.
Yes, sir.
We
Yes,
need more
sir.
of this,
Yes, sir. Peace.